Division 1, Earthwork Item 100 Mobilization 101 Description. Establish and remove offices, plants, and facilities. Move personnel, equipment, and supplies to and from the project or the vicinity of the project site to begin work or complete work on contract items. 102 Measurement. This item will be measured by the lump sum as the work progresses. 103 Payment. Partial payments of the lump sum bid for mobilization will be as follows. The adjusted contract amount for construction items as used below is defined as the total contract amount less the lump sum for mobilization. A. Payment will be made upon presentation of a paid invoice for the payment bond, performance bond, and required insurance. The combined payment for bonds and insurance will be no more than 10% of the mobilization lump sum or 1% of the total contract amount, whichever is less. B. Payment will be made upon verification of documented expenditures for plant and facility setup. The combined amount for all these facilities will be no more than 10% of the mobilization lump sum or 1% of the total contract amount, whichever is less. C. When 1% of the adjusted contract amount for construction items is earned, 50% of the mobilization lump sum bid or 5% of the total contract amount, whichever is less, will be paid. Previous payments under this item will be deducted from this amount. D. When 5% of the adjusted contract amount for construction items is earned, 75% of the mobilization lump sum bid or 10% of the total contract amount, whichever is less, will be paid. Previous payments under the item will be deducted from this amount. E. When 10% of the adjusted contract amount for construction items is earned, 90% of the mobilization lump sum bid or 10% of the total contract amount, whichever is less, will be paid. Previous payments under this item will be deducted from this amount. F. Payment for the remainder of the lump sum bid for mobilization will be made on the next estimate cycle after the initial retainage estimate or at final acceptance for projects without retainage. 104 Bid Item. Item 101, Mobilization, Lump Sum. Item 102, Insurance and Bond, Lump Sum. Item 101 Preparing Right-of-Way. 101 Description. Prepare the right-of-way and designated easements for construction operations by removing and disposing of all obstructions when removal of such obstructions is not specifically shown on the plans to be paid by other items. 101 2 Materials. A. Obstructions. Obstructions shall be considered to include, but not limited to, remains of houses not completely removed by others, foundations, floor slabs, concrete, brick, lumber, plaster, cisterns, septic tanks, basements, abandoned utility pipes or conduits, equipment or other foundations, fences, retaining walls, outhouses, shacks, and all other debris as well as buried concrete slabs, curbs, gutters, driveways, and sidewalks. This item shall also include the removal of trees, stumps, bushes, shrubs, brush, roots, vegetation, logs, rubbish, paved parking areas, miscellaneous stone, brick, drainage structures, manholes, inlets, abandoned railroad tracks, scrap iron and all debris, whether above or below ground, except live utility facilities. It is the intent of this specification to provide for the removal and disposal of all obstructions to the new construction together with other objectionable materials not specifically provided for elsewhere by the plans and specifications. B. Explosives. This item shall not govern for the demolition of buildings by the use of explosives. Such demolition work shall be governed by the use of a special specification controlling the work. C. Fences. Unless shown otherwise on the plans, all fences along the right-of-way which are damaged or removed temporarily by the contractor shall be replaced by the contractor to an equal or better condition at no additional cost to the city. D. Hazardous materials. If the contractor encounters hazardous substances, industrial waste, other environmental pollutants, underground storage tanks, or conditions conducive to environmental damage, contractor shall immediately stop work in the area affected and report the condition to the owner's representative in writing. Contractor shall not be responsible for or required to conduct any investigation, site monitoring, containment, cleanup, removal, restoration, or other remedial work of any kind or nature, the remedial work, under any applicable level, state, or federal law, regulation or ordinance, or any judicial order. If the contractor agrees in writing to commence and/or prosecute some or all of the remedial work, all costs and expenses, to include any extension of the contract time, of such remedial work shall be paid by owner to contractor as additional compensation. 113 Equipment. Provide applicable equipment to conduct work as described in this specification or as specified on the plans. 114 Construction. Protect designated features on the right-of-way and prune trees and shrubs as directed. Do not park equipment, service equipment, store materials, or disturb the root area under the branches of trees designated for preservation. When shown on the plans, treat cuts on trees with an approved tree wound dressing within 20 minutes of making a pruning cut or otherwise causing damage to the tree. Follow all local and state regulations when burning. If burning of brush is approved, pile and burn at approved locations. When working in state or national forests or parks, coordinate work with state and federal authorities. Testing, removal, and disposal of hazardous materials will be in accordance with 112D, hazardous materials. Clear areas shown on the plans of all obstructions, except those landscape features that are to be preserved. Such obstructions include but are not limited to those identified in 112A, obstructions and other items as specified on the plans. Remove vegetation and other landscape features not designated for preservation. Removal of live utility facilities is not included in this item. Remove culverts, storm sewers, manholes, and inlets in proper sequence to maintain traffic and drainage. Unless otherwise indicated on the plans, all underground obstructions shall be removed to the following depths. In areas receiving embankment, remove obstructions not designated for preservation to 2 feet below natural ground. In areas to be excavated, remove obstructions to 2 feet below the excavation level. In all other areas, remove obstructions to 1 foot below natural ground. When allowed by the plans or directed, cut trees and stumps off to ground level. Holes remaining after removal of all obstructions, objectionable materials, vegetation, etc. shall be backfilled and tamped and the entire area bladed, to prevent ponding of water and to positive provide drainage. Backfill materials deemed unacceptable by the engineer shall be removed and replaced at no additional cost to the city. In areas that are to be immediately excavated, backfilling and belading may be eliminated if approved by the engineer. Areas to be used as borrow sites and material sources shall have all obstructions, objectionable materials, vegetation, etc. removed to the complete extent necessary to prevent such objectionable matter from becoming mixed with the material to be used in the construction. Where a conduit is shown to be replaced, it shall be removed in its entirety and all connections to the existing conduit shall be extended to the new line. Where an existing conduit is to be cut and plugged, the line shall be cut back not less than 2 feet and a plug of concrete not less than 2 feet long shall be poured and held in the end of the pipe or the plug may be accomplished by using a precast stopper grouted into place. Material to be removed will be designated as salvageable or non-salvageable on the plans prior to bidding by the contractor. All salvageable material will remain the property of the city and will be stored at the site as directed by the engineer. All non-salvageable materials and debris removed shall become the property of the contractor and shall be removed from the site and shall be disposed of properly and in accordance with local, state, and federal requirements. All asphaltic material shall be deposited of or recycled at a facility authorized to accept the asphalt for such purposes. Dispose of wells in accordance with TXDOT Item 103, Disposal of wells. 115 Measurement. Preparing right-of-way for new construction will be measured by the lump sum 101.6 payment. This item will be paid for at the contract lump sum price bid for preparing right-of-way, which price shall be full compensation for work herein specified, including the furnishing of all materials, equipment, tools, labor, and incidentals necessary to complete the work. The lump sum price will be prorated based on the number of phases in the project. A phase will be eligible for payment when street excavation is completed for that phase. 101.7 Bid item. Item 101.1, Preparing right-of-way, lump sum. Item 102, Obliterating abandoned street. 102.1 Description. This item shall govern obliterating sections of abandoned streets in accordance with these specifications and in conformity to the lines, grades, and details shown on the plans or as established by the engineer. 102.2 Equipment. Provide applicable equipment to conduct work as described in this specification or as specified on the plans. 102.3 Construction. Strip and windrow existing topsoil before shaping operations. Remove asphaltic pavement that is to be salvaged in accordance with item 208, salvaging, hauling and stockpiling reclaimable asphaltic pavement. Remove abandoned structures in accordance with item 101, preparing right-of-way, unless otherwise shown on the plans. Scarify and mix the abandoned roadbed with soil and blade to produce a smooth, uniform appearance. Fill, cut, and shape the designated sections of the abandoned road to blend into the surrounding terrain. Where fill is required to bring the section up to the established grade, utilize materials that meet the requirements of item 107, embankment. Eliminate ditches except where needed to facilitate drainage. Cover disturbed areas with topsoil after shaping operations to facilitate establishment of vegetation. When designated on the plans that the area shall be sod, item No. 516 sodding shall apply. 102 For measurement. Obliterating abandoned street will be measured by the square yard of accepted work and no separate measurement of excavation, breaking down old structures, backfilling old structures or removing old curbing, sidewalks, driveways, etc. will be made. Any sodding required will be measured for under item 516, sodding. Any fill required to bring the section to the established grade will be measured and paid for under item 107, embankment. 102.5 Payment. This item will be paid for at the contract price bid for obliterating abandoned street, which price shall be full compensation for all work herein specified, including all excavation and disposal of excavated material for scarifying, for breaking down structures and backfilling same, and for all labor, tools, equipment, and incidentals necessary to complete the work. Sodding will be paid for under item 516, sodding. Fill will be paid for under item 107, embankment.